Hey, Maxine here. How are you doing? Welcome to your Monday Motivation. My name's Maxine, in case you're not used to me, and I am a life and career success coach for ambitious women who want to continue thriving in their careers while they start and grow their families. So today, as usual, like every Monday, I've got an incredible message for you. So I'm going to give you a moment to pile on and do say hi, whether you join this live. Hey, Adebim. Oh, Adebimpe, welcome. Great to have you here. Say hi if you join. Hi. I want to talk to you today about a super important message. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you will know that I am all about really achieving great things in your career, but also having a life, also enjoying that life. And one of the key things I always share is around team. You know, you can't really achieve anything significant on your own. You've got to have people who are really, really good supporting you. So a lot of my clients, when they come work with me and I share with them, you've got to ask for help, you've got to delegate. They say things or they think things like, what if I delegate and, that person, they don't do it as well as I can. Or by the time I explain all this to somebody else, I could have done it myself. And I help people work through that. And then they delegate and then they're free to go and do stuff. But what about when they're proved right? What about when that person you delegate to doesn't quite do things the way you'd expect, or is dropping the ball, or is really screwing things up? Well, that happens, and that actually happened to me this weekend. So I want to share with you what you do when you do that, because the thing to do here is not to start doing everything yourself again, because quite frankly, you will never achieve anything significant if you try to do it all yourself. Nobody ever achieved anything amazing that way. So here's what you do when people screw up. It happens, right? Deliberately, mistakes, people screw up. So here's what happened to me this weekend. And share this message, by the way, because this is such an important message that happens to all of us. So I think, if you benefit from this, no doubt there'll be somebody in your network who could benefit from this as well. So here's what happened to me this weekend. So I really give it my all during the week. I serve my clients literally all over the world with passion throughout the week. And the weekend for me is all about family time. Saturdays we rest, Sundays we spend time together, we plan for the week, that kind of thing. Well, guess what? This weekend, I found myself working for hours on something that should have been handled by someone else. Literally, my daughter was saying to me, Mommy, let's play train. And let's spend time together, let's read together. And I was really working on something that I delegated a long time ago. It should have been handled. I kind of found out quite surprisingly on Friday that it wasn't handled. So quite frankly, I was really annoyed. Now, this is something that requires a deadline. So I now had to spend my weekend, instead of spending time, the time fully with my husband and spending the time fully with my daughter, I'm now fixing this issue. So I remember sitting there really, really annoyed, thinking, why is this happening to me? And then something clicked. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is literally what I work with my clients on all the time. People make mistakes. People sometimes screw up on purpose. People do all kinds of things. Don't let it control you. When things are going wrong with your team, when things are going wrong with people you're working with, there's ways to handle it that actually have you moving through this quickly and actually getting the most out of it, being better as a result of it than had it not happened. And I want to show you the tips to make that happen. So when somebody screws up in your team, they're not pulling their weight, they're not doing what they're meant to be doing, here's the first thing you need to realize. If you're like me, you'll start kind of suffering the effects of this working on your weekend. I'm like, founder of Childproof Your Career, you're supposed to have a life, right? So if you find yourself in that situation, the first thing you need to realize is this is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And by that, I mean, when something's happening to you, you're like the victim and like, oh my gosh, what a disaster. But when something is happening for you, it's happening for your benefit. So that's the first mindset shift you've got to have. So I remember sat there on Sunday in my pajamas. So I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to deal with this, right? And just thinking, oh, why is this happening? Why didn't they handle this? And I just remembered, this is happening for me. That leads me to my next point. When you realize this is happening for you, you ask better questions like, oh, so how could this be happening for me? What do I need to change so this doesn't happen again? In my case, how do I become a better leader to stop this kind of thing happening again? What kind of things do I need to change to actually, prevent this from happening again? You start asking better questions when you realize this is happening for you. So in my case, I realized, there was something I needed to handle in terms of hiring that I meant to do a few weeks ago, and I kind of forgot about it. I'm like, right, that needs to happen. I need to get that person in. I got out my job description for the interview. Now, there was other things I was like, okay, so this characteristic in me could do with a little bit of a tweak. Okay, so I'll fix that. So when you kind of switch it around to see that you are just being guided to come to the next up level, whatever that is for you in your life, in your work, in your family, and you switch from why is this happening to me to how is this happening for me, you ask the better questions, you start getting the better answers. Which leads me to actually number 3. So this one's a favorite. Now, if you're in a relationship, this applies to you. And actually, even if you're not in a relationship, think about other people who are not the partner, right? So if you're in a relationship and this kind of thing is going on and you're peed off, quite frankly, your man is not your journal. Literally, your partner, your husband, he's not your journal. If you're not in a relationship, your team, your family members, your friends, they're not your journal. If you keep talking about, so-and-so did this or so-and-so didn't do that, it kind of kills the joy immediately with the other person that it has nothing to do with. And quite frankly, that's gossip. Gossip is just, it's a deadly thing. It feels so like, so good to let that off my chest. But the more and more you kind of focus on this negativity, number one, you get more of what you focus on. So if you're gossiping about, so-and-so did this or so-and-so didn't do that, you get more of that because that's the energy you're staying in. And the other reason it's not a good idea, especially if you're in a relationship, is, there's things that you guys need to be interacting on. So if you are, saying to your man, like, so-and-so, it kills the joy, it kills the mood between the two of you. I literally caught myself doing this when I said to my husband, like, and I just looked at his face, he was like, and I just realized, oh my gosh, just don't even do that. Literally, your man is not your journal. Your friends are not your journal. Don't gossip about this because all you are doing is prolonging the situation. You're just prolonging the situation. So don't gossip about it. Don't be tempted to stay in that mess by like getting it off your chest. Get a coach, process things, release it, journal, and I'm coming to that in a minute. But don't gossip in the pretense you're getting things off your chest because you actually just prolong the situation. So literally, your man is not your journal, your friends are not your journal, your co-workers are not your journal, definitely not to be gossiping about somebody else. It's just destructive and it doesn't help yourself, it doesn't help anybody at all. And then the next point is really changing your state. So like I said to you, I was sat there 4 hours into this task that I had literally paid somebody to do, right? I was so annoyed. So annoyed. And the thing is, your feelings, I've spoken about this a lot before, your feelings actually determine a lot. Now, if you're somebody who is constantly annoyed or you always have a reason that so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that, like I said, you get more of what you focus on. You'll find even more reasons to be annoyed. You'll find even more things that are annoying. You'll find that, so-and-so always screws up. So it's so important that you change your state. So for me, I was annoyed, quite frankly. I was annoyed. So when that happens, you don't want to stay in the state of annoyance. You don't want to stay in the state of like despair, anger, whatever it is. You got to change your state. It's so important to do that. And there's so many ways that you could do it. One example is journaling. Like I said, your man's not your journal. Really use a journal. For me, when I sat down with my journal I had a good 10-minute journal. I went from feeling anger to like such joy, such gratitude, such fierceness about what it is I was going to go create instead of this mess I find myself in. So you got to change your state. I also had on music. So for me, I put on music that I love and it feels good and I change my state. And then once you're in this higher vibration is what my coach calls it, you're then in a position to kind of move forward creatively to solve your problem. These are all the sorts of things that you need to do before you even speak to the person. Typically, when somebody annoys us, somebody doesn't do something right, there's so many things we do wrong before we actually address it with the person that then ends up leading to when we do speak to them, it goes terribly wrong. If you take these steps that I'm sharing with you before you even speak to the person, chances are your conversation is going to go so much more smoothly and you'll get so much more out of the person. So I'll recap them. So the first thing you got to realize, it's happening for you, not to you. So just see, How's this happening for me? That's so the next point. Ask the better questions. How is it happening for you? Find that out. What needs to change in you? Ask those better questions and you'll get the better answers. Number 3, your man is not your journal. Your friends, your family, your teammates are not your journal to gossip. It's so destructive and it doesn't help anybody. It just prolongs the situation you're in. And number 4, you've got to change your state. Change it. Because if you stay in the state of being annoyed, angry, upset, the victim, you'll attract more of that crap that you don't want in your life. And then finally, I thought I was done with those 4 points. And I thought, oh yeah, that's it. Those are the 4 steps. But actually this morning, as I was meditating, I got one final step that I thought, wow, this is so powerful. I should add. I didn't plan to. So when you've done all of those 4 things and you've changed your state, the 5th thing, when you do go to approach that person, is to approach them with love. Love. And I first got love and I'm like, what is love? What's love got to do with it? Literally, I kept getting that word love. And I'm like, okay. So interestingly, in my morning routine, I often talk about this. I don't start anything before I have my proper morning routine where I get my mind right, I get myself right to get the most out of my day. And a part of that routine does include meditation, does include journaling, and it does include reading of several books, but also reading of the Bible. So when I got the word love, I'm like, what's love got to do with it, literally? So today, it just so happened that I was reading the chapter on love. And here's what it said about love. I had to jot this down because I was like, wow, this is huge. So when somebody is not pulling their weight at work, when somebody has not done things right, do all of those first 4 steps, go back and recap if, in the replay, if you've missed that. But at the end of that, you've got to love. And here's what love really means. I read today. Love is patient. Love is kind. It doesn't envy. It does not boast. It's not proud. It doesn't dishonor others. Ow, wow. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So when you go to deal with your teammates or whoever it is, remember all of those things, because literally, we always say, you always hear treat people like you want to be treated. I always say, treat people like they want to be treated. But when it comes to this, treat people like you want to be treated. I think if you made a mistake, if you screwed up, if you did something even on purpose wrong, you'd want to be met with love. So when you go address the situation, make sure you follow through on my earlier steps, which is know it's happening for you, ask the right questions, don't gossip about it, change your state and approach it with love. People deserve love, you deserve love. So I hope that helps you. Literally, this dealing with people, getting the most out of people, achieving through people is one of 3 pillars in my Childproof Your Career system. I literally guide women through this system to basically help them continue to accelerate their careers, continue to thrive in their careers, continue to get the best out of people, both in their home in terms of true partnership with their man, and out, if they have one, and out there in the world in terms of getting the most out of their teams. There's other aspects as well to kind of things you need to activate in your life so that you continue to thrive, you continue to make massive contributions out there in the workplace as you live and love your life outside of the workplace. This is just one small piece of it. Now, the women I work with, there's various different things that happen along. If you're finding yourself like, wow, this is really resonating with me, I really want to grow in my career, I really want to figure some of these pieces out, I invite you, just schedule a strategy call with me. Let's have a strategy session together. Let's look at what's going on for you. Let's look at your vision for where you want to be, both in your career and in your life. Look at some of the things that may be holding you back. It may be team stuff like this that we can help you figure out what's the strategy to break through. It may be other things in my other 2 pillars. There's too much to go into. I want to keep this brief. Go ahead. I've included a link above. Go ahead, book a strategy session with me. Let's get on the phone. Let's see what's going on for you and see how we can help you move forward into an incredible week, first of all, and into an incredible career and life. The future is so much greater once you decide it is, and I want to help you create that. So look forward to speaking to you on the call. Get booked. The link's already there, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a fabulous Monday and week. Bye. And hey, thank you for all the comments and the waves. Bye.